Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, August 13th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses technical charts within your decision-making process as a trader, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of technical analysis and how it can help you make good decisions as a trader, then this will be a video for you. And then very quickly, just keep in the back of your mind as I go through the video that if you're liking what you hear, you want to learn more about it and just learn about the tool of technical analysis to build consistency, then I am offering a free live class this upcoming week on Thursday. So if you're interested, there's a link that you can click down in the description box if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching at claytrader.com, somewhere on the screen there will be an area, or on the webpage I should say, that you're on to click and get signed up. So like I said, just keep that in the back of your mind, and if you like what you hear and see as I go, then I want to personally invite you to get signed up. First stock here, ticker symbol PLTR, which had earnings today. A little bizarre. This is not pulling up on who I normally use for charts, which is e-signal. So we're using TradingView for this one. And I should also note that this is a 30-minute time frame, and I'll be using that for all of the stocks, meaning that each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes of time. So again, not sure why this isn't pulling up on e-signal, but it is what it is. So let's hop right into it. And like I said earlier, earnings today, very, very nice improvement with the stock on, as would be expected, big volume, and a nice pattern here headed into Friday. The first part of the pattern here, and what I think the level that a lot of people are going to be watching, is going to be that support area right there. Give or take, we'll call it right around the 2465-ish area. But that did a fantastic job of absorbing this pullback. So yeah, price made a big move up. And then yeah, the price did pull back. And that's where it always gets a little sketchy, because you got to question, all right, is this the start of a bigger reversal, or is it just a pullback? And as of right now, seems to just be a healthy pullback, which again, best visualized by just seeing how the price has really respected the green line right there. So point being, moving forward, as long as the price can remain and continue to stay above that green line, that's going to be a good sign of a healthy consolidation. If there is any sort of attempted move back in the upwards direction, first key area of resistance that'll need to be broken right there at the $25 mark. I'll change that to red to represent resistance. And then after 25, nothing fancy at all. Next key level is just where the party stopped today, and that was right up there at the 25.75 mark. So yeah, 25.75 certainly is going to be that main overall level of resistance. But my primary point is really, before you put too much emphasis or focus on that area, let's just see if the price could even get back above 25 there as that initial area of resistance. But all in all, nice day, very nice setup to head into Friday with. Next one here, ticker symbol CLOV, and we are back on e-signal now. So again, I have no idea why PLTR is just not pulling up when all these other stocks are. But anyways, it is what it is. So CLOV has been a very nice mover in the past, and certainly has the capability to make very big moves. So good to see that things came back to life today, and some very well-defined areas here now headed into Friday. And really, and this level, I'm not trying to come across as like some sort of great discovery. I assure you a bunch of people have noticed this $9.25 mark there, and I make that comment because when a lot of people have noticed the same level and are going to be watching the same level and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movements. So the point here being that headed into Friday, while nothing's guaranteed, it's more than valid. It's a more than rational thought that if this, general upwards movement can, continue and then make a move back up to that area and get the break through it, that break in and of itself could very well create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure. So yes, the price is going to have to recover from this current pullback right now that it's experiencing during the last 30 minutes. But like I said, if it can curl itself back around and get the break up through there, that could certainly produce a very impressive movement to the upside from a breakout standpoint. As far as levels of support are concerned, the level that I'm curious about on any sort of continued pullback is going to be that trend line down there. So I will change that to green to represent more of the bullish attribute. And that level is down there, give or take, let's just call it around the 865-ish area. So like I said, any sort of more of a significant pullback, that trend line right there seems to be an interesting area. But yeah, I think the main idea and the main play headed into not necessarily just Friday, but even early next week is, can the price recover back up to 925 and get the break? Let's see what happens. Next one here, ticker symbol AMC, which maybe you've heard of it. It's been in the headlines every now and then, but I've been tracking this one on a very routine basis, and overall didn't do anything wrong today at all. Had a very solid day. The day started, or excuse me, not the day, but the movement started back on Wednesday with the nice move, and then going into today, it was all right, is this a true move, or are things going to roll back over? Nope. And today did nothing wrong, continued to work its way higher and higher. But from that angle of things, from at least a technical analysis update point of view, nothing new here to report. Main area of resistance remains at that 200 period moving average. That pink line up there currently valid at 35. Now, I suppose one update would be it did get closer to doing battle with that level, but nothing has changed in the sense of that is still the level of resistance. And then for those of you that watched the previous video, from the overarching standpoint, main level of support remains at that support down there, that overall trend line. So from that area, you can see it's still between these key areas. So moving forward, it's just a question of who's ultimately going to win out. Are the bulls going to win out by breaking up through that 200 period moving average, or are the bears going to win out by pushing the price back down and then breaking into the trend line? Only time will tell. But as of now, good solid day. Nothing huge, but certainly wasn't a bad day. Just continue to creep upwards and get within striking distance of that 200 period moving average. Next one here, NAOV, and a beautiful, beautiful pattern here as we head into Friday. So let's just hop right into the pattern. First part of it is going to be that resistance trend line, which is just showing that, yeah, there has been some selling pressure that showed up today. So you'll want to keep an eye, and that'll be, from a technical jargon point of view, the breakout point if the price can get back up to that area. But you also have to give credit where credit's due. Made a big, surge upwards here earlier on in the day, and, before kind of consolidating out here a little bit. And then, of course, this was all occurring on bigger volume. So the support part of this pattern, I would call right down here at that breakout point of $2.70. And then just to make the pattern, try to, as clear as possible, draw that line down like that. So we have that resistance part. We have that as a support part. And if I put a little golf hole down there to make it more visual for you golfers, we would have what is known as a bull pennant pattern. So nice pattern here is taking shape, big volume, big movement, not just a question of is this going to go through a healthy consolidation here and then eventually make its way back to the upside. That remains a question, but Friday going to be very interesting. Next one here, ticker symbol MU, and this is all based around the general idea, and I'm stating the obvious here, but that's just simply where the general premise of things is coming from. But this thing has been just destroyed. I mean, from 82 just a few days ago all the way down to here, and it's just been basically one down day after another, which brings the question of, at some point this thing's got to bounce. I mean, it's got to at least, and when I say bounce, I don't mean reverse back up to 82, but I mean, even if it went half that distance, a quarter of the distance, from a trading perspective, that could still produce a very worthwhile opportunity. And right now we're at an interesting area because it has at least started to bounce. If you, put this trend line, or not necessarily trend line, but that area of resistance into play, you can see the price has not only been able to bounce up a little bit, but it's also been able to break above that red line. Now, let me be very clear. Does that guarantee that for sure, without doubt, this thing's going to continue on up? No, of course not. There are no guarantees. But is it at least a rational thought to have? Yeah, it's absolutely rational. By no means is it random to think, I think this thing's going to keep on going. Well, no, that would make sense. It's already started to bounce. It's broken that resistance. So it doesn't guarantee that'll happen. But again, that's not like me just throwing a dart and saying stuff. And that's where technical analysis really shines, is it helps us as traders make not random decisions. Because spoiler alert, if as a trader you're making random decisions over time, that's not going to work out well in terms of building consistency. But there's nothing random about thinking, hey, and wondering, could this thing be getting ready to go back up? So that's what makes this very interesting. Again, it's been beat down in a hurry. It's starting to show some signs of strength. So now the big question just moving forward is, all right, is this bounce the start of something bigger? Can it get back up into the mid-70s? We'll have to see what happens with it. But at least, there seems to be a possibility that this is some sort of bottom that's trying to form. But yeah, Friday and then early next week will be very revealing. Next one here, ticker symbol NIO, had earnings come out and not a good day at all, and ultimately formed a pretty bearish pattern here. So let me be very clear though, just because something is a bearish pattern does not mean that for sure guaranteed the price is going to go down. Just like if something forms a bullish pattern doesn't mean that it'll go up without doubt. But the pattern here that has formed, so let me get this into play here. But we have this trend line like that, and I'm going to change that to green again to represent more so the bullish area of the pattern. And then as far as the level of resistance is concerned, pretty much have a bigger area right there, which is proving to be more so the top part of that pattern. And then just to make the overall pattern as straightforward as possible, we have that portion of it right there. So we have the support, we have the resistance, then put a golf hole up here. So it's an upside down pennant, which would make it a bear pennant. Now, again, does that mean that it's going down? It doesn't. But if you're somebody that does like bearish plays, whether that's through shorting or playing put options, this might be something worth keeping an eye on. Or maybe just saying, no, Clay, I'm bullish on this because I think that this is just, I think this is a false bearish pattern. I think this thing is getting ready to come up here and get a push through the upside. And then you know what? Maybe you're looking at this in more of a bullish light. But from strictly a pattern perspective right now, I would personally think you need to lean a little bit more bearish because this is a bear pennant. But you never know what's going to happen because it goes back to what's at least a rational. So is it rational to be bearish? Absolutely. It's a bearish pattern. Doesn't mean it will be bearish, but by no means is it random or anything like that to feel a little bit bearish towards this one moving forward. But we'll see how it ends the week on Friday. Next one here, ticker symbol OPEN. Very, very solid move today. I don't know if problem's the right word, but it made such a big move that you kind of got to throw out the question of, are you still chasing? Would this be FOMO to buy up around this area? And, I don't know. And I have no problem admitting that. And that's part of being a trader. Sometimes you just don't quite know. But what would make this a little bit more interesting, at least in my opinion, is a bit bigger of a pullback, which would be down here around the $17.50 mark. Meaning if the price could come down here to $17.50, at that point, like I said, that feels as though it's a little bit more of a pullback, but still gives it plenty of opportunity to ultimately build a very bullish pattern. So to me, $17.50 seems, again, not a guaranteed entry point, but one that would make a little bit more sense. But who knows? Maybe you're looking and saying, no, Clay, the price was up here. It's dropped down to right there. For my strategy, and in my opinion, that's already a big enough pullback. I think it's ready to reverse back around. And okay, fine. We'll agree to disagree, and there's no harm there. You're not wrong. I'm not wrong. That's just a matter of, kind of risk tolerance there. But for me personally, 1750 seems to be more of a better pullback area to consider. Or if you're a breakout player, just saying, listen, I don't know why you people are even talking about pullbacks. I'm going to be right up here watching to see if this thing can get the break up through right around the 1840-ish mark, and then I'd be looking to buy a breakout. So that's where it all goes back to, your personal strategy, how you're looking to play things. But at the end of the day, what we can all agree on is today, this one had fantastic movement. It had fantastic volume. So going forward into Friday, it's certainly worth keeping an eye on, throwing out the questions of, which way does it want to go? So let's see how it does play out on Friday. Next one here, ticker symbol PBTS, and just a very, very solid pattern here. And this goes back to the whole self-fulfilling prophecy that we talked about in a previous one, meaning I assure you, people that use charts, understand charts, are going to be watching that 215 mark, or give or take right around 215 to 220. And like I said earlier, when a lot of people are watching the same exact area and wondering the same exact things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Call it whatever you want. It can produce very dynamic movements. So while nothing's guaranteed, and I realize I keep repeating that, but I just want to really drill down with that. Technical analysis as a tool doesn't make guarantees. Nothing does. But we're all about trying to make good, rational decisions. And it is more than rational to think that if it can get up to that area and get the quote-unquote breakout in technical jargon, then that breakout could create that much more upwards buying pressure. So 215, 220, definitely going to be that main breakout point. And then just from, kind of the overall dynamic perspective in terms of what happened, well, very quietly, the price was able to just trend upwards. And that's best seen here by getting that trend line in a play. And I'm going to drive myself nuts. I can't stand when these patterns and lines don't. So let me just squeeze it over. There we go. So much better. Now the pattern makes sense. But anyways, so draw the pattern down like that. We have the resistance, we have the trend line, and we have ourselves another nice bull pennant pattern that, like I said, a lot of people will be watching. So that 215 mark, yeah, if it can get a break up through there, that could certainly create some very nice upwards pressure. So yeah, Friday is setting up to be a very interesting day. Next one here, ticker symbol SESN, and we're going to have the same exact conversation, just much more condensed as OPEN, meaning, we can all agree, no doubt about it, awesome movement today. From here all the way up there, fantastic. This was all occurring on very much so above average volume, so we can all agree on that. But in terms of how do you want to play it, so breakout players, they're going to be watching this area right here saying, I want to see a breakout of that trend line. But pullback players, that's all going to, differ. For me, like I said, I don't feel like this thing is pulled back enough, but maybe you're a pullback player saying, no, Clay, it's up there, pulled back there. That's enough for me. Cool. If that's where your strategy says you should be, then so be it. In my opinion, more of a preferable area would be right down there around the 465 mark. And at the end of the day, the idea here is if the price were to, just stay anywhere between here, what would that ultimately be doing as far as a pattern construction point of view? Well, you'd have that area there, you'd have that area there, and you'd have yourselves a nice bull flag pattern that is forming. So like I said, whether you care about right here or right here, overall, that would still be giving that pattern, which would be a good solid bullish pairing pattern. But like I said, at the end of the day, great volume, great price movement, not just a question of, how does this thing want to consolidate out? Maybe it doesn't want to consolidate anymore. Maybe it's just going to get up there and, those breakout players will choose wisely by just buying the breakout. But that's all a matter of personal preference and strategy. But Friday, keep an eye on it. Next one here, ticker symbol INO, and just like these other ones that we've talked about in terms of self-fulfilling prophecies, talk about a level that everybody and their brother's uncle is going to be watching, and that is $10. I assure you, people all around the world have seen that area. I mean, you look right here, a couple days ago, rejected. This morning, rejected. This afternoon, rejected. So I'm going to keep it very short and sweet. As I've said this already, more than valid to think that if the price can work its way up to 10 and get the break up through there, that break in and of itself could create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure. So NIO, super interesting pattern set up for that reason alone. I mean, just such a, I'm curious, has $10 shown up at all? Yeah, what was that? kind of. Let me extend this out of just, yeah, right there. So yet another data point right there where that area was rejected. So there's just going to be that many more people watching it. And that's really the main dynamic moving forward is I think the main play, the main thing most people are going to be watching is all about $10. Can $10 break? Will that level finally be pushed up above? We'll see what happens with it. Not necessarily on Friday, but over the next several days. And that wraps up the top 10. So again, I want to just personally invite you, if you did enjoy what you heard, what you saw, and you're starting to see, okay, I can see how, these charts as a tool can be used to make good decisions, but I'd like to learn more about how they should be used, how they should not be used, why they work, and just kind of get more of the philosophy and such behind them. Then, like I said, I am offering the class next week on Thursday, August 19th, and it'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So like I said, go get signed up for it there if you want to learn more about just, charts as a tool and as a great tool to build consistency. And then as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you do enjoy this format and you want me to continue to make videos like this, please communicate that to me by doing two very easy things. Hit the like button, leave a basic comment, even if it's just you saying hi. But those two things communicate to me that these videos are worth the time and effort. And as long as I know that they continue to be worth the time and effort, then I'll continue to make them. But just from strictly a good old-fashioned time management perspective, just want to make sure that I'm using my time as wisely as possible. So if you enjoy them, if you want me to keep making them, hit the like button, leave a basic comment below. And then again, I want to personally invite you to get signed up for this class if you want to learn more about charts and how they should be used to build consistency as a trader. Hopefully everybody had a good one today, and I'll see you on Friday.